I'm not really that worried. I think he's going to do better as the season goes on. If you look at the metrics, he's got a 10% walk rate. That might be the best in the lineup, to be honest.
Yeah.
Welcome into the live Fountain supposedly on YouTube. I don't know what it looks like yet. And right on cue, it plays the wrong intro with like Hunter Renfro. So that's how our life goes on the live show, I guess. Anyways, welcome back into the Fountain. I'm Preston Farr. I got Matt Chabot with me. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing better than the Royals right now. So
yeah, it's kind of hard to not be better than the Royals. It's rough right now.
Yeah, it's not a high bar. Getting season swept by the Yankees hurt pretty bad.
Yeah.
Man, I don't like that team.
The days of beating the Yankees are far behind us.
Yeah, I don't like that team. It's so disappointing. It's losing to the Yankees. It hurts almost as bad as losing to the Cardinals. Not quite as bad, but man, it's frustrating to lose to the Yankees. I just want to. It's such a good like underdog story to be the small market team that didn't spend as much money but is really good, and we want I just want to beat the Yankees.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the season sweep, right? The Royals lost every single game to the Yankees.
All 6.
Jazz Chisholm is just laughing on the flight home.
God, I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
Look, I might start this off with a bit of a bang, and I don't know how everybody feels about this, and I'm not always a fan, and for the most part, I'm all for like don't hit the guy. They should have pelted him in the back. For the most part, I like that the Royals are like respectful, modern rules, stuff like that. Don't start problems. I'm sick of him. He is complaining about a ball hitting him in the head. And he's spreading it everywhere. He's starting stuff that doesn't need to be hit him. Just hit him. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of those situations in like the last year where you're like, okay, there's got to be something coming, and it just never happens. Like, yeah, I mean, very rarely am I gonna like advocate for like drilling a guy. But
right.
I think like the last time was like the India injury at one point.
With Contreras.
Yeah,
it came with the spikes up. That was the only other time I think in the last like 2 years that I've been like, hit that guy. You do it the right way, like you hit him in the ribs or hit him in the thigh or something like that, just so he gets a little bit of a bruise. But like, it's just for things like that where it's like so intentional, just like unnecessary that you're like, all right, catch a fastball. Like it's just set an example or something. It's just the
bullshit with Jazz this time was. Like, what are you mad about with the tag?
Right.
Like, he's trying to catch the baseball. Like, it just didn't seem anywhere remotely like.
And he's going and talking about it like he hasn't watched it. Like, it's like he felt it, but everybody knows what happened. Even like Yankees fans are like, everybody knows what's happening. Just go and go watch the video. You know that he didn't tag you like that. And I also saw an announcer say, like, you can kind of tell when somebody's doing something intentionally by, like, the person who did it's reaction. And Maikel Garcia is not, like, standing over him like, yeah, I just hit you. Like, he's immediately like, where did the ball go?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So you can tell that Maikel didn't mean anything by that. And he's already caught an elbow to the face by Volpe and in the playoffs. Like, yeah, he deserves to. I would be mad if I was Maikel, too. So I don't know. I wish they stood up for him a little bit, but he'll be fine. And honestly, you got to win games. It hurts more to win the game than it does to hit somebody in the back with 90. So,
yeah. I mean, we'll dive into a lot on today's episode. We'll look at some news, but a lot of it we're gonna look at Jack Caglione's slow start. Cole Reagan's back on the injured list. We'll look at that, and then I think the bulk of what we'll cover today is just like what are we DEFCON 1 or like where are we at? Like what's the worry level right now?
Yeah.
And then we'll go through some minor leagues, a little bit of news, and then we'll just kind of look at, who's leading the way so far this season. So, again, it's our first live show. So if you do hop on live, I think you can drop comments. I think I can see them. So just interact on there. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, we'll kind of read those out. But yeah, I mean, we'll start with the news. The Royals, they dropped to 34-35. Still fourth place in the AL Central. We're now 10.5 games back. A long way to go, but it's slowly looking like the only path to the postseason is going to be that wild card. Detroit is just on a roll. They're not slowing down.
Yeah, they're running away with it.
Yeah. And I mean, the Royals they've tried some things. Jack Caglione was called up since we got together last. They've shuffled in John Rave, Drew Waters. They've shuffled in now Tyler Tolbert. They're JJ Piccolo, Macrotrell. They're doing just about anything they can, short of calling up Cam Devaney to try and kickstart the offense. It's just not working.
Yeah, Massey came up with a left ankle sprain out of nowhere to try to spark the lineup even. So they're doing what they can. My frustration is less with Quatrero, and it kind of reminds me of how people were so upset with the bullpen at the start of last year. It's like, what do you want him to do? Like, who should be hitting instead? I mean, Waters has gotten in the lineup a bit too much. Lofton's gotten in a bit too little, but Lofton was in the lineup yesterday. They didn't score a single run. It's like at some point you just have to acknowledge like the players aren't good enough right now, and the pitching's great. It's slowed down some recently, but like you can't expect him to make guys hit out of nowhere. And I'm sure we'll talk about hitting coach and stuff like that later on, but really it's just the expectations for Q are kind of through the roof for a team that just simply there's not many options for him. It's not like we're the Yankees and we can just choose to sit Aaron Judge and stuff like that. Like it's tough. So
yeah. I mean, there have been some trades. I think Andrew Vaughn was traded today. The White Sox to Milwaukee, which weird trade. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But
they did Savali so dirty with that because he requested a trade, and not 24 hours later they sent him to the White Sox. But 2 hours before announcing the trade, they made this "Happy Birthday, Aaron" post because today is his birthday. And then they just shipped him off to Chicago and were like, here's your gift, buddy. Bye. Yeah. He got replaced by a rookie, asked for a trade. The second his birthday hit, Milwaukee was like, watch this.
Milwaukee's better off because they had some rookie pitching that they just didn't have room for.
Yeah. Savali's not a bad pitcher. I think the White Sox did pretty well, but Misarowski, dude, that is a crazy debut from him. So
yeah. I think the only thing that Milwaukee could have done dirtier is sending him to Colorado.
Yeah, that would have been brutal.
So, I mean, we'll see if the trade deadline starts to kick off, but I think we're still a month out. To be honest, at this point, it's probably pretty muddy on what the Royals are even going to do. I mean, they're another bad week from, maybe we don't buy anything.
Right.
Other news on the pitching side, Cole Reagan's back onto the injured list. Lucas Ursa, he's back. Had that errant throw the other what was that yesterday, I guess.
Yep.
That kind of blew the game. So just stop making that guy field the baseball.
Right. It feels like a common problem for the Royals that pitchers keep trying to be fielders. I feel like this happens like 2-3 times a month. You see a pitcher like make a mistake. Schreiber had one earlier where he went to go and then the ball kicked off the dude's leg and they scored like 3 runs out of nowhere. Yeah. It feels like this is a common problem for the Royals. Just get out of the way and let these dudes do their thing. But that is kind of unfortunate, a little up the middle hit and a 0-0 game. But then you can say it's on Ursig, but he didn't even get an earned run for that game, and the Royals lost on an unearned run. You can't lose games 0-1. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the loss wasn't on him by any means. Just a kind of a lame play. Yeah. Royals did DFA Trevor Richards. He was outrighted to Omaha. I don't know if he cleared waivers. I think he did. I don't know. If he didn't, I would be surprised if he doesn't.
Right.
Hunter Harvey was moved to the 60-day IL. What did you see about him? What's the latest update on?
I saw that he was getting reevaluated. I haven't heard like really what they came through with that, but I heard that he was reevaluated yesterday, I think. We'll see what happens. They said that when they moved him to the 60-day IL, it was more of a precautionary move from some people that I talked to, but not precautionary for him. More so just to move guys around because they wanted to bring up Richards. They wanted to call up Hatch at the time so Reagans could come pitch for the doubleheader. So it shouldn't be 60 more days or the rest of the season for him. Back strains are just always tough. They take a while to get better. Expect him to miss a little bit more, but he'll probably have a rehab start coming up.
Yeah.
Not
Procedural
start.
move. He doesn't have to miss, the 60 more days, but it would be nice to get him back in the bullpen because it just feels like between his injury, Urseg's injury, the rotation, it's just the bullpen is taxed to all hell right now.
Mhm.
Tyler Tolbert, I don't know if we covered it. He got called up as well.
Yeah.
That was when Massey went on the IL, I think.
Yeah, brutal ankle injury.
Yeah, he stepped in his weighted runs created plus.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's a fair point, though, because, if he's been dealing with something nagging all year, why do you wait so long?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. He also could have been optioned. He's definitely going to have some rehab appearances down there, I have to imagine, but he's just not there. It mentally he's not there. I don't know that you can put somebody on the injured list for mentally not able to hit a baseball right now, but if they could, they would. He's just struggling, and we know what Massey can provide. And if we can have the Massey we had last year, I think this team would have won 5 or 6 more games this year, easily, because we haven't had that back end of the lineup production we've needed, and it's disappointing to say the least, but hopefully he'll get right, start to get a feel for his swing again, and we'll have a second baseman / left fielder who can hit because we're on the hunt right now.
Yeah, they need it. Well, let's we'll kind of jump around. We got a show doc here. We'll kind of jump a bit down because we're already kind of talking about it. Let's talk about the panic level. Where should fans be? The Zoom walk firing discussion is it's completely exploded once again. I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't know what firing him is going to do. It's not going to change who these players are. They have the players that they felt fit their system, and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the last calendar month, it's just been kind of a shit show of, outside of Vinny Pasquantino, the worst case when it comes to the offense, when it comes to the pitching has kind of taken a step back. But I mean, what's your take when it comes to where the panic level should be right now?
Yeah, if the season ended today, maybe send Zumwalt to free agency, but I just don't think that, like you said, I don't think you get anything out of firing him right now. I mean, these numbers are atrocious for the most part, except for the batting average. And it's the philosophy that the Royals have gone with for such a long time, or the last 2 or 3 years, is just put the ball in play, put the ball in play, put the ball in play. And in theory, it would work some in Kaufman, but right now they're doing it so often, but they're all singles. It just doesn't mean anything. And so I can agree with the frustration with Zumwalt's philosophy. I think we can almost all agree that it's not working. The offense is one of the worst in the league. But simply put, if you fire him, who's going to replace him? And if they do replace him, do we really think we're going to win more games trying to flip the philosophy at the plate in the middle of the season? Like, guys taking more pitches, trying to change their entire approach just in the middle of a year, fix this tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. So I think right now you kind of just have to thug it out with what he's giving you and hope that it's going to change for this year. And next year, if you start to reevaluate in the off season, maybe even the day the season ends. But it's not to say that I'm happy with Zumwalt, but I just don't think that firing him right now does anything to make the team better right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we put these numbers back up, right? Since May 15th, first in average, but there's just no power to speak of with runners in scoring position. They're abysmal. I just how much of that goes hand in hand with the aggressive approach? That would be my question, right? I think because if you got a man on first, man on second, the strategy of the pitcher changes, right? They're looking more for weak contact. They're looking more for ground ball outs, and I think that's probably, if I had to guess, I think that plays against the Royals really heavily because they're making a ton of contact, and so when the pitcher starts to look for that weak contact, the Royals just give it to him.
Yeah, and I don't have any of the number in front of me, but I have to imagine we're near the top of the league in grounding into double plays because it feels like 2 and 3 times a game at this point that we're just putting the ball in play right to the shortstop, and it's exactly what they need to get around the problem. I mean, it happened yesterday with runners on first and second, no outs. Caglione just nubbed one off. They jammed him on the inside of the bat, and it's unfortunate. And I don't mind with guys like Caglione being aggressive, but at some point you have to start talking about, like, we're not walking, and wouldn't you rather walk some and fill in with walks for some of those singles and sacrifice some of those singles for more power? Because something's got to give. Because right now, guys are getting on base and they're just getting stranded at first and second because it's just all singles. Yeah, you can try the approach the Tigers kind of went with last year, where it's just really, really aggressive base running, send them from first to third consistently, really send the guys home, try to beat the throws, count on bad throws, things like that. It started to work for the Tigers some. They also got more power with Torkelson and stuff like that, who started to click. But they just have to hit better. You got to find the gaps in the outfield. You got to, if you're hitting singles, guys have to score. You got to get the people around. And there's, like you said, there's no power to be found. Salvador Perez is that cleanup hitter. He's really struggling some. Vinny's hitting the ball well, gap to gap, but it's going over the fence sparingly. And Jack Caglione has yet to hit one gone, despite him having the most power in baseball. So,
yeah,
in minor league baseball.
On the season, the Royals are 26th with 36 GIDPs. So 26th lowest. So they're pretty good on the season. They don't have a ton. Yeah. In the month of June, they have 10 of those 36, which is most in baseball.
Okay. Yeah, so a little recency bias.
So that's
on
why
my part.
I think that's why you feel that way.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I mean, it has been an issue.
Yeah, I talk to my friends around here all the time, with the Orioles fans and Nationals fans and stuff like that, and I always remind them of recency bias. So I'll reference this the next time I bring it up, because I'm guilty of it too. It definitely has.
I think it does speak to how bad the offense has gotten after starting so bad. Like, it's only gotten worse.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't gotten better, and like you said, they've tried everything with Piccolo, and they've DFA'd guys. I mean, moving on from Renfroe was a big thing for them, especially for a team who doesn't like to spend money, moving on from one of your biggest contracts. They called up their best prospect without even having a year since being drafted. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about him as well. John Rave came up. Devaney hasn't been called up, which is maybe the only other guy left that it's like, yeah, you gotta, like, I guess we're out of options now, but really they're just struggling to find success at the plate, and they're going to need to start winning soon for Piccolo to feel confident that he can trade for somebody at the deadline that can hit. Because again, you just have to hit. They just have to hit. It's that simple, but it's also that complicated.
Yeah, I think when we talk about, like, what the panic level should be, there's two things that I think matter. The first thing is, we started the year, okay, this offense is bad. Can they come out of it? And then we said, okay, they're not going to come out of it. Can we get some guys up to, get rid of the Renfroes, get rid of the Massies? Now they've done that, and those guys still aren't hitting. So, like, we've kind of moved the goalposts and said, okay, that didn't work. Now what about this? Okay, will this work? Okay, no, will this get? And nothing has gotten the offense going, right? Yeah, John Rave, who's been fine, but he should be like a fourth outfielder that doesn't play every day, and that's kind of what he's been. Drew Waters, basically the same thing, right? They have a lot of those guys on the roster. I think if you call up Cam Devaney, he's going to swing and miss just as much as, like MJ Melendez. He's not going to really change life. He might hit for more power when he hits, but how often is that going to be, right? I don't know how often that's really going to be. And I mean, then you do have MJ Melendez, maybe you bring him back up, but he hasn't done it long enough, and the swing and miss is still there. So as good as he's doing with, power and hitting the ball, it's still the same underlying issues, I think.
Yeah, and you think fans are mad now?
Yeah. Right.
I could only imagine.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the first point I'd say is we were at a point, even like the end of June or the end of May coming into June, where it's like, okay, the pitching just needs to keep letting us tread water while we try these other bats out and see what will click. Like, we've tried that now. Nothing has clicked. And now we've reached a point where, like, the pitching is not treading water anymore. There's so many injuries. I mean, ERA since May 15th, we're down to 17th, FIP 21st. Walk rate, it's not where it should be when it comes to pitching. And that's come at the same time as the pitching has, or as the bats have just completely fallen apart.
Yeah,
So
something has to be clicking.
The pitching's not treading water. The bats didn't change at all when you brought in all these new faces. And who else are you going to bring in at this point?
Right. Yeah, it's like we're 500 with the pitching dominating, being maybe the best in baseball, and the bats being one of the worst in the league. And when the pitching starts to falter, the bats didn't pick up where they left off. Hopefully, easier series here with the Athletics will help them get into a bit of a rhythm, but the schedule doesn't get much easier. It doesn't get easier until way later in the year. They got a tough stretch coming up. I know they got the Dodgers, a little bit of a West Coast trip. They have the Mariners coming up, like the teams that aren't bad. So they are going to have to step up. They're going to have to hit, and it's really unfortunate that it's not as simple as just like see more pitches or swing the bat harder or like go get one guy. It is so broad as to say they have to hit the ball. Like it's really disappointing to see. I don't think it's unsalvageable, but it's getting to the point where there should be a ratcheting up concern about we don't have guys who can hit right now. I think there's maybe 4 guys in that lineup that I'd be willing to see catch an extension at all, even if we had the money to do it. I think Vinny, Bobby already has one, so Vinny, Michael, and is that it? Like,
yeah. Well, and even Vinny and Michael Garcia, like with Vinny, what's the track record of health? It's not really a lot. So I think that gives you pause on an extension. Michael Garcia, he's been great, but like what was he before this year? Like last year was a big question mark. So
yeah.
I think even those guys that maybe you consider, like you probably don't really feel good about it.
Yeah, and then you have Caglione, who it's like, oh, please, he's just yeah. I would be concerned, and I would specifically be concerned that if the pitching doesn't get back to where it was, we're in some real trouble.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've reached a point where, we wanted the pitching to just hold us over till we could get Cags up and hold us over till we could add bats at the trade deadline. But I think we're at the point now where we might not even be adding bats at the deadline because I just don't know if it's the offense. I don't know if it'll be salvageable by the end of the year. I think the team, I think you can still make a wild card, but I don't know. What's your confidence level right now taking this lineup into the playoffs? Like it's 0.
Yeah, it'll become definitely less of make the playoffs this year, win the playoffs this year. And if they're trading for somebody, it's going to be get somebody who we have control of through 2029. Like guys who have years to go on their contract, Alex Call in Washington or Jake McCarthy in Arizona. A lot of these guys that are just like, but it's also going to cost you though. And we're going to get into how we can't hit in the farm system either. So it's a problem all throughout the organization that will probably be addressed this offseason to an extent, but they're gonna have to make changes because right now it's not even close.
I mean, I'm a big fan of what Alex Umalt did historically for the organization. I think he's better off as a developmental piece in the organization, developing hitters, than he is as like an MLB hitting coach.
Yeah,
but I think it's a very small chance that they go into the offseason and say, you know what, we're just going to roll it back and try it again with the same people doing the same things. They have to find a way to, because, I mean, you're first in the last calendar month in average, and you're dead last in runs. You can't just hit singles all day long. Like, they don't walk for shit. They're dead last in walk rate. They're not hitting for power. And at least a good chunk of that is solely on the approach at the plate.
Yeah, it's really aggressive. I mean, Jack Caglione just got called up. He hasn't taken a walk yet, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's and as far as Caglione goes, I don't mind him being aggressive. Maybe not that aggressive, but Salvi's never been known for walks. Vinny has a good eye at the plate, but he's getting more aggressive because he's hitting well. Bobby has never been really known for walks because he hits so well, but he's not hitting well. Michael got moved out of the leadoff spot because he doesn't walk. It's that approach is brutal, especially if you're putting balls in play and they're just all singles. You're trying to steal bases, things like that. But also feels like we're getting caught stealing a lot more recently. Even if Michael gets in there, and you get Yankees reffed, but it's just disappointing. This offense is just not good enough. It kind of feels like when you're watching the game, when they start to go down, you kind of stop watching. And that wasn't how this team was last year. Last year, you can remember how many times they came back from down in games, and this team is relentless. I don't know. Everybody remembers that. Like, they're not relentless. They're not hitting.
Yeah.
They went 6 and out in the last game, down 1-0, 6 and out. Nobody even got a hit, got a walk, nothing, just all outs. It's was tough to watch.
Yeah,
they're gonna need to.
And I think purely walk rate, it's not really a good representation of what you want an offense to do, because you want your best hitters swinging the bat and hitting the ball. And I think at the root of what the Royals are doing, that's kind of what they're looking at. But walks don't slump the way that hitters do, right? If you're walking enough, then you're at least giving some value when you're struggling with batted ball luck, or when you're just struggling to barrel the baseball. So I don't think looking purely at, the Royals need to walk 10%. Like, I don't think that's the answer.
Right.
I just think the Royals need to walk when the Royals should be walking.
Yeah.
That's what it's. And right now they're swinging at shit.
Yeah. My concern doesn't really come from Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez, Jack Caglione. Those 5 guys, if they want to swing, they can swing. India's leading off the game. He has a good walk rate. Outside of that, what do you got? John Rave is working counts and then grounding out. Nick Lofton is probably your best non-group of those guys hitter right now, who's only in half the games. Drew Waters, I cannot remember the last time he walked. It doesn't. He strikes out a lot. He doesn't walk a lot. Kyle Isbell's not a huge walk guy. A lot of singles, a lot of slap hits. These guys at the bottom of the order that are known for not being great hitters and are more so good fielders, stuff like that, they're not walking. And those are the guys that really need to be walking. They're trying to put the ball in play. They're trying to hit the ball into the gaps, and they can't hit. I mean, it's not the end of the world to sacrifice a little bit of heat at the plate to go get a fielder like Kyle Isbell, or John Rave has been average at best out there in the field, but it's not the end of the world. Even Freddie Fermin or something like that. Like, it's not the end of the world to sacrifice some pop at the plate to get a little bit of fielding out there. But they're not hitting. They're not walking either. It's like the OBP is terrible. You're not setting your best players up for success that way, and that's not how you win baseball games.
Yeah. Like you said, we'll get into the farm system a little bit later, but there's nothing on the horizon. So it just amplifies that panic level a little bit. I'm at least like a 5 or a 6, because I just don't know how much you can really fix this offense at the trade deadline. You're basically just banking on, can Jack Caglione arrive? I think Bobby Witt Jr. will be fine. Vinny Pasquantino's doing well. You're banking on, can Jack Caglione arrive? Can Salvi pretend that he's 29 again? It's just, there's too much that you need to happen internally that I don't think going all in externally is going to really be the best idea.
Yeah, I think I can have confidence that Jonathan India will get on base some. Bobby Witt Jr. will figure out how to hit. Michael Garcia will get hot sometimes. Vinny Pasquantino will get hot sometimes. I'm not really confident in anybody else yet. I think Jack Caglione will start to figure it out, but he's not there yet, and I can't promise that that's going to happen. The other guys, I'd put significant money down that they'll be okay, but just a tough spot right now, and Salvi's looking older. It's a tough spot for them. So this offseason will be a big one. This draft could be a big one. They've got to get some bats. But I'm probably out of 10. I'd also say I'm probably at a 4 or a 5. I'm not as panicked because I think the pitching is struggling right now with injuries. Lugo looked to settle in last time. Playing against the Yankees is always hard. That's probably the best hitting lineup in baseball right now. The bullpen is injured to hell. When you start to get Ursig back to feeling himself, you get Harvey back. Estevez is one of the best relievers in baseball right now. Cruz looks great. It keeps Sam Long so far away from this major league roster. It's not even funny. But I think you have the tools to make the playoffs. I just think that they got to start hitting. I think that the pitching can bounce back a little bit to the point where you get some confidence that they can provide you a playoff caliber pitching staff. And it more so becomes get a solid hitter with control for the next couple of years, not Cedric Mullins, more young player who's recently called up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked a little about Caglione. Let's look at him a little more closely. I mean, he had a 4-for-4 day the other day, but he's really kind of come along slowly. OPS is still under 600, I believe. The expected batting average is 311. Great. Hard hit rate, 51%, almost 52. That's great. Bat speed's been there. But like we said earlier, hasn't walked yet, which, I mean, that's not the end all be all. If he's hitting the ball hard, that's fine. Hit the ball hard, don't walk. But his whiff rate, 32.8, which I think that, if I have to point out one thing that says this is the key, it's that. Because Jack Caglione was always going to chase. He was always going to swing at everything. But he was always going to hit a lot of everything too. So, and that whiff rate, I think, has been really the root cause. Because when he's hit the ball hard, he's done well. But when he's not hitting and making contact, that's where the issue is.
Yeah, he's specifically struggling against lefties, at least based on the eye test. His first strikeouts came against Palente, right, in Arizona, and Liberator. Liberator got to him a couple times. And lefty v lefty is always tough, especially for young guys when you're facing really high quality lefties. But yeah, he's struggling to make contact balls outside of the zone. Something that was to be expected, something that the Royals specifically said he needed to fix before they called him up, and he was able to do that in the minor leagues. I think he'll start to get right as time goes on. The power is clearly there, and you don't mind at him swinging at junk every now and again, the way that we didn't mind Salvador Perez swinging at junk every now and again, because he's a good bad ball hitter. Salvador Perez is maybe the best bad ball hitter I've ever seen. That dude will hit things 6, 7, 8 inches out of the strike zone and put him in play, and you're like, whatever. It's Salvi. He's fine. Caglione can start to do that. He's already shown that he can do it some. He's swinging up balls up at his chin area and slapping them out in the play. So we know he has the power all in his arms, even just to like get an arm swing and put a ball into play pretty well. But he's going to need to start to cut down on that. The hard hit rate is nice, but he's hitting it to defenders. Couple of unlucky ones, just like the Victor Scott play and for his first at bat ever. I'm not super concerned. I actually, over at Royals Review, I published something about the concern level for Jack Caglione.
Yeah, that was good.
I got cooked in the comments section on Twitter. Dude, those people were flaming me because they were like, Jack Caglione's slow start? What are you talking? Some dude was talking about my slow start into journalism. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. They were killing me in there. But it is. It's a slow start.
He's got an 0.54 ISO. Like, it is a slow start. Yeah, the hard hit rate is there. That's not like, that's just underlying metrics. That's not tangible on the box score. And that's I mean, that's, I would say it's a slow start. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was right after he'd had a 4-day hit streak and had that 4-hit game and all that. But I was like, dude, his OPS is still below 600 for a guy that we were all hoping would, like, not all, I mean, that people were hoping would be Aaron Judge up here. Like, would immediately start hitting bombs. He hasn't hit a homer yet. He's not walking. It's a slow start for a top prospect. And I specifically said, I almost tried to comment on so many of these, but I was like, guys, I said he'll be fine. Like, I said what to make of his slow start, and the first thing you read is he'll be fine. Like, I don't get it. I know people got so mad about that. So no, I'm not concerned long term. Right now, I'd be a little concerned about his ability to produce the next 5 days, but they need him to produce right now. I mean, we were talking about how bad this lineup is right now. They can't hit. They need Jack Caglione now. We're not in love with the way Zumwalt's program, and that 0% walk rate is not going to go away if they stick with the Zumwalt philosophy, which not the end of the world, but he's got to start putting the ball a little bit further than he has been, because right now we're just not hitting the ball. Yeah.
I think I have zero concern about Caglione, the player, long term. I mean, when you swing the ball, when you swing the bat that hard and make contact that much, I mean, zone contact, he's still at 85, 86%, which is great.
Yeah.
So he's going to be fine long term. The problem right now, 55% ground ball rate. He's hitting the ball up the middle 48% of the time. So a good 50% of the time, he's hitting the ball on the ground up the middle. And teams are shifting more to the middle. So it doesn't matter how hard you hit the ball. if they're shifting and moving to be where you're going to hit it 50% of the time, then he's going to be out 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And then the other 35% of the time he's swinging and missing.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the root of the issue right now, and he'll be fine long term. But I think exactly what I was worried about earlier this season when I said, look at Nick Kurtz. He came up, he struggled. This is why you cannot call Jack Caglione up and say, all right, we need him to get the offense going, because that's exactly what's happened. He has not done that, and now people are talking about, should we worry about, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw people saying he should be optioned before I published that article. Like, I'm so serious. I saw people saying he needs a mental reset. He's not ready. And I was like, oh yeah, now everybody hates somebody saying Jack Caglione, whatever. I'm not angry about it. I'm a little angry about it. But I'm not worried about him long term. But yeah, like you said, he's a prospect. He's going to come up. He's going to struggle. Major league pitchers are immensely better than minor league pitchers. That is the biggest step in baseball, is AAA to major league pitchers. These guys are incredible at their jobs. They're going to challenge you when you first come up. We saw it with John Rave. John Rave was able to work walks, take the pitches you give him. Major league pitchers don't give you pitches. They were throwing it in the zone and telling him hit the ball. He struggled to start. Jack Caglione's going to struggle to start. All these guys, for the most part, will struggle to start. Bobby Witt Jr. struggled to start. George Brett went 2 for 40 to start his career. It just happens that way. And J.J. Piccolo said specifically, we're not going to rely on Jack Caglione to spark the offense. And then they called him up after they scored 1 run in 18 innings. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the pressure you want on a guy like Jack Caglione, because he will just keep swinging and keep, he's just aggressive by nature. So I think it's just, I don't play in Major League Baseball, but I just think when you're that aggressive, it's a lot easier to start pressing when it's not happening, even if you're doing everything the right way. So the biggest thing, though, is in Omaha, he was going up the middle like 25% of the time. He was finding gaps, whether it was pull side, opposite field. He's not really finding gaps. He's not going opposite field. When he is going into the gap, it's that, that pull side, which is fine. But he's got to stop hitting it on the ground. He's got to stop hitting it up the middle. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think what he's thinking right now, he found something that works, and he's hitting it up the middle, but it's not going to work indefinitely. And we know what he can provide that works. And when the ball goes over the fence, nobody can catch it. And he'll get his. He's going to get his. A guy who swings the bat that hard, a guy who makes contact at the rate that he makes contact on balls in the zone, he's going to be okay. There's no need to panic about him long term, but the panic should be towards the offense and not towards Jack Caglione. Bobby Witt is hitting worse than him recently, than he is hitting recently. So are we concerned about Bobby Witt Jr. not hitting? No. So it's not the end of the world. We just need to, the offense as a whole just has to be better. And I think he's pressing to salvage an offense it's not his job.
Yep. Agreed. We'll see. Maybe he'll get that first home run tonight against the Athletics. But once it happens, I think it'll click. And I think he'll be better off.
Yeah, he's frustrated. You can see that he's frustrated. He's yet to say it to the media or like show it in interviews, but he's walking off the field like, just like, he has that look that's like, man, I hit another one and the dude made a crazy catch in the outfield again. And it feels good off the bat and it gets caught, but he'll be okay. He's going to be fine.
Yep. Only other guy, and then we'll move on to the minor leagues. Another guy I would ask, what's the concern? Cole Reagans hit the injured list again. Came back. He had that one rehab start, did not look great, which I put zero stock into. I don't give a shit what people do in a rehab start. But then he came up and he really didn't look, he was still striking guys out, but he did not look great over, the 3 innings that he threw. Gave up, 5 runs or something. And then pretty quickly after that, hits the injured list again. So I don't know if he was ready when he came back. I don't know. Maybe he was ready and then something tweaked. But, this is a guy, 2 Tommy John surgeries. It's not arm related. I think it's the groin. But, this is still a guy that you worry anytime he hits the injured list. And now he's on the injured list for the second time this season. Do we get Cole Reagans? Do we get last year's Cole Reagans back this season? Or is that just kind of something we probably shouldn't be banking on?
Yeah, I'm not as confident in that as I am in the previous things we talked about. I am more concerned about Cole Riggins than maybe a lot of other people are, especially with how many great starting pitchers the Royals have coming up in the organization with, Drew Beam. You have these other guys that they just drafted. It's so many young pitchers. I mean, Avila's down there. He's probably not going to be considered a starter, but you have Guerrero. I'm blanking on names right now, but the Royals have so much pitching. The depth in pitching is immense. And he's put on the injured list with a rotator cuff problem. I mean, shoulders for pitchers are really sensitive, really brutal to take care of. Rotator cuff specifically is a really sensitive piece of tissue in the body. It's going to take him a little bit to get back to 100%. That velocity may drop. We already saw it drop in his past couple of appearances, and the off-speed stuff is all right, but it just feels he's uncomfortable. And he has to be 100% for him to play 100%.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, coming back from the groin, was he, compensating to a degree, and did that impact the shoulder a little bit? There's a lot of things that go into it. I think the way that the season's gone, the way the offense looks, I just don't think it's very smart to continue rushing him back. And I'm not, the Royals know more than me or you, and they have, doctors and whatnot, but I don't think you're in a position where you really should rush him back for a team that's now a game under 500 with no offense.
Yeah. Every athletics trainer has more experience in this than I do, to be completely clear. But if I had to take a stab at it, I would imagine that when he started feeling the groin issue, he started struggling with commanding exactly how he wanted, and things got a little off kilter. And it was after he missed that. He had a struggling start, and then he came out. It got announced that he had the groin issue. He missed one start, right? And then came back, then pitched 2 starts, then hit the injured list, then came back, then hit the injured list again. I think when he first dealt with that groin injury, he started struggling to get guys out, because that's when he was having so many foul balls against the Red Sox earlier this year and all that. I think he started compensating, really just trying to get those strikeouts. He's throwing the ball hard. He's trying to spin that thing and place it. And I think that puts a lot of strain on your shoulder. And I think that's probably where that came from. I could be totally wrong. He may have fallen off his bike for all we know. But I would imagine that plays a part in it. He looked like he was stressing. He was hitting 98, 99 at times, just trying to huck fastballs past guys because he was so tired of them fouling off pitches. And his delivery just looked like it had more effort in it than it usually does. And that's frustrating for a guy who has the highest K per 9 in baseball if he was qualified.
Yeah. Yeah, the stuff is still there. It's all in the delivery. But I'd feel a lot more, and I don't want to rush anybody back, but I'd rather rush somebody like a Kyle Wright back than Cole Riggins, because Kyle Wright means a lot less to you next year and beyond than Cole Riggins.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely forgot about him. And I've heard Marsh could be back around July.
Yeah, and I don't think they're really rushing Kyle Wright at that much at this point, because he's had a long road back. He should be pretty much ready.
Yeah, but when you have Marsh and Wright as depth guys behind Noah Cameron, who's dealing, he had his one tough start against the Yankees. Who didn't? Chris Bubich had his worst start against the Yankees. Lugo had a good start, and then we lose by 1 because we literally can't score a single run on a rookie. Just difficult. But when he finds his way back, you can take your time because you have 5 guys. Kyle Wright provides depth. Avila's out right now. Hatch could provide depth because he just got back. He cleared waivers. Right. Yeah. And Cameron's dealing. So you have 5 pitchers right now. The rotation is filled. So he can take his time coming back, and he has to be 100% because the injuries are concerning. I mean, 2 Tommy John surgeries is tough. That's probably why the Rangers got rid of him. Hopefully he can return to that form. There's a reason why they extended him. They're confident that he'll be okay. And I haven't heard any panic from the Royals staff or anything like that saying, like, we're going to give this one a good long time. They have said that he'll be okay. So I'm trusting that. I think it comes down to Cole Riggins really taking that rehab seriously, taking a slow approach, not trying to get back, not trying to force things. Similar to Lugo came back. He struggled in one start, got back into the swing of things, looked good yesterday. I think he'll be back in time. It doesn't matter if you have one bad start, slowly working yourself back. That's okay. If you blow a game to go win us 7, that's fine with me. So take his time coming back. This one felt rushed.
Yep. Well, hopefully he'll be back. Rich Hill, I think, has an opt-out in 2 days on the 15th, so we'll see what they do with him as well.
Oh, yeah. Yay. Rich Hill.
Man or whatever.
Yes. Can he hit? Tell him to pick up the bat.
Maybe, to be honest.
Let's make Lorenzen the DH. Rich Hill can fill in at that 5th spot, and we're good to go. I think that'll do it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that call. Some Royals fan says, I have the perfect solution to the offense. Let's get Lorenzen out there. Get him the glove.
Yeah. We'll see. We can move into some minor leaguers, unless you had any other thoughts on the big league team.
No, I just
it's not fun now.
I'm just waiting until I see that tweet about. I already saw a tweet yesterday of somebody being like, "Where was this lineup?" And it had Garrett Hampson in it. It had Hunter Renfroe in it. It had Yuli Gurriel, Tommy Pham. I was like, I know you're not serious right now. I know you people who complained about Garrett Hampson nonstop. You guys bullied that guy out of Kansas City. That guy was never going to re-sign here because the fans bullied him out of the state. Are like, oh wait, we won a playoff game with him. Where's Garrett Hampson? Oh, come on, man. They're getting desperate. It's getting bad in Kansas City, man.
It's getting completely illogical at this point.
Yeah, somebody posted something with the team from 2022 and was like, I miss this energy.
Was it the one with Nicky Lopez?
Yeah, with Nicky Lopez. Yeah. I was like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
This team lost 106 games.
Do you know how good this offense could be with Nicky Lopez posting a 52 weighted runs created plus? Come on, man.
Yeah, we'll get Whit Merrifield out of free agency. I have the perfect leadoff man.
Come on, we need Jorge Soler. You know what? Alex Gordon's there tonight. Just put him in left.
Yeah, get him a helmet. Sign a 1 day. We're ready.
Yeah. Well, into the minor leagues. We are getting some guys back from injury, which is nice. Steven Zoe back. He's activated from the injured list. Daniel Vasquez, Hyung Chan not really a prospect anymore in my eyes, but Diego Hernandez, he's back from the injured list as well. So a lot of guys coming back. There have been a lot of injuries in the minors this year. Blake Mitchell still on the shelf, not really working his way back yet. I think he's doing some work in the backfields, but he's not even really rehabbing right now.
Yeah.
And then Trevor Richards, like we said, outrighted AAA Omaha. Thomas Hatch, he's now back in Omaha. He cleared waivers. So a little bit of movement, nothing really too crazy. I just want to look a little closer. I have the pitching stats on here, but really I just want to look at the hitters in the minor leagues, because for a team that really desperately needs to do better at the big league level with hitting, they're not doing well with hitting in the minor league level.
They can't hit shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. If we look through the leaders, 2025 leaders in the farm system, OPS, you got Caglione, you got Lofton, you got John Rave. So guys that we've already seen in the big leagues. The other guys on that list, Sam Ruda, 23-year-old from, I think he was in the Army.
Yeah.
Has a 900 OPS.
Pretty sure it was Air Force. Went to Air Force, right?
Yeah, he was in the military. Might have been Air Force.
Yeah.
900 OPS is a 23-year-old in AA. That's a cool story. Peyton Wilson, 896 OPS. Most of that's from when he was just torching AA. He's been a lot colder at AAA. Cam Devaney, we already know about, 886. And, maybe that's the guy that can come up and give you impact. I don't know. And then Yandel Ricardo, 885 in Arizona. It's a bunch of non-prospects, 28-year-old Cam Devaney and Yandel Ricardo, who's not going to be here for 4 years.
Yeah, and even these guys that we mentioned that came back, you got 3 guys that are in single A at best, and Diego Hernandez, who is Dairon Blanco on his very best day.
Yeah.
He has 70 graded speed and then probably 30s and 40s everywhere else. They're struggling. They need hitting. This year's draft is going to be almost, I think it's going to be like the opposite of last year, where last year it was 18 pitchers and 2 hitters. And Jack Caglione was considered both a hitter and a pitcher. So you're looking at 18 hitters coming in this year. The pitching's good. Obviously, I think you need to take a couple of pitchers just because we've proven that we can develop college pitchers even in late rounds. Nate Ackenhausen's already in AAA, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But go get hitting, go get college hitting, and if any of those guys can figure out how to hit by the time, not next year, but the year after that comes around, they're a major league player because we're hopeless right now. If I'm hitting the panic button on anything, it's that these guys in the minors can't hit. We don't. The future of hitters is non-existent.
Yeah, that's tough. I think the biggest takeaway is if you want somebody to help from the minor leagues this season, good luck. You got Cam Devaney, 28 years old or 26 or whatever. You got MJ Melendez, who we've already seen, and then you got not shit else.
Yeah, it's bad.
If you want somebody for next season, kind of in the same boat. Like there's nothing coming.
Yeah,
so, I mean, if we look at weighted runs created plus leaders this year, again, you got Kaggs, Lofton, Chris Brito, 28-year-old first baseman in high A, has a 151 weighted. Like, okay, cool. Sam Ruda, again, cool story. Peyton Wilson, 144. A lot of that's from Double A. And then you got Yandel Ricardo and Ramon Ramirez, who are these international guys in the low minors that aren't going to be here anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a tough sight. I mean, Luke Maile can come up and we can have 3 catchers all over again. That'd be kind of fun, right? It's not pretty. And at this point, your best hitting prospect right now is only valuable to you if you need somebody to fly fighter jets over the stadium. So it's trouble. It's not ideal. I mean, the pitching is nice. There are some really quality pitchers down there, but so you can't be upset at the whole farm system. I mean, how many years did we complain that we couldn't develop pitchers? So I guess we'll take that. But hitters, they're just not there. They're not there at all anywhere. It's every level. It's really struggling. Ram got injured as well, and he was probably the best hitter prior to that, as far as guys that haven't touched Major League Baseball yet. Brutal to see the way Carter Jensen has really struggled recently.
Yeah, he's come on of late, but it's just, if you look at the whole season, it's not pretty.
Yeah, I mean, he was really hopeful for a guy that could replace Salvador Perez at some point next year, even. So
yeah,
it's not great pretty much anywhere. So if you're trading somebody at the deadline, it's going to be pitchers because you got guys that have been to the major leagues, dudes that could be prospects if they learn how to hit, and a guy who flies planes. So it's I really hope he went to Air Force, or I'm going to look like an idiot.
I'm going to look it up now because I don't know. Let's see. Sam Ruda, Army West Point.
Brutal.
All right. What he did in the Army, though.
Who knows? That's a tough school to graduate from, though. So
yeah,
he's tough. Well,
he majored in law and legal studies.
All right. So perfect. When Alex Zumwalt gets sued for malpractice, he has a defense attorney.
I don't know. It's a good story, but Sam Ruda is not a prospect. The last thing I'd say, just to wrap it up with the minor leagues, because I mean we can go through the pitchers, but I don't know if it really matters. There's some cool stories. We can go over that in another episode. But if we're looking at trade deadline, you're talking about, all right, we need somebody for the offense. We need a trade for a bat. Like, what are you trading? Blake Mitchell, who's injured.
Yeah.
Probably not trading him. Like, you're trading low on a guy who's hurt. Carter Jensen, I guess you're going to trade him maybe at like his middle value because he's kind of bounced back recently. Maybe. You could trade pitchers, I guess. You can trade what? You could trade Drew Beam, I guess. You could trade Steven Zobak, but he's coming off an injury, so you're kind of selling low there. You could trade your Blake Walters, your Hero Wyatts. You could trade David Shields, who's probably your number 1 prospect in a month. Like, what are you trading for a bat? Nothing. Like, it's just hard to see a match, honestly. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for who to move on from. The pitching is just not there. Or the pitching is there. Sorry. The hitting is just not there. And there is good depth as far as pitchers go. But they're going to have to move guys that you don't want to see leave. Avila Sarantola is possible, I guess. A lot of these, like other top guys, a couple lefties up there. Zerpa could be possible. But you're really going to struggle to find exactly who you want to move. And the hitters there just aren't any that it feels like you can move on from and be happy with.
If you do move the pitchers, let's say you move a Vila or a Drew Beam or even a Steven Zobak, what are you doing next year in your rotation? And what are you doing next year in Omaha for depth in your rotation? Like suddenly you don't have any because Seth Lugo is probably going to opt out, and I think he's probably going to be gone. I don't think you re-sign him. So Michael Walker will be back. Cole Reagans, we'll see what health does the rest of this year. Noah Cameron will be there. Michael Lorenzen, he's going to be gone. So let's say you deal that upper level pitching talent for bats. Now all of a sudden you have to spend on pitching this offseason. And now all of a sudden you also still have to spend on bats because you're not going to acquire what you need in the lineup in one trade deadline. So the more I look at the deadline, if the Royals have another bad 2 weeks, I just would be massively surprised if they're buying at the deadline.
Yeah, it's the struggle bus in the minor leagues right now. It's a lot of small names. Your best prospects are guys that are high development players that aren't going to be ready for 5 years. So you're looking, it's a real struggle for sure. So I'd agree. If you get to the deadline and we're below 500, I think you kind of just call it a season and say roll with this lineup.
I think you trade if that happens below 5. If let's say they're 5 games below 500 in the middle of July,
then they might be even sellers. Then you're just like,
if that happens, you're trading Estevez. You're trading Lorenzen for whatever the hell you can get. You're probably going to listen on Seth Lugo.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at that point, it is what it is. You took 2 steps forward last year, really huge steps forward. You took one really big step forward back this year. You just, at that point, you're just looking at how can we get Cags acclimated the rest of the season so that next year we're ready to go.
Right. Yeah. You got plenty of relievers you can listen on. Even Zerpa could get some value. We heard the teams really wanted him. He's gotten hot lately. Maybe not exactly who you want to get rid of, but they've got to get better. Down on the farm, they got to get better. Up in the majors, they got to hit better. They have to hit everywhere. It's brutal.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'm skipping hats off this episode because it's just too much of a downer of an episode.
Yeah.
And
I'll say really quick. I'll say really quick. I figured out why I thought that guy went to Air Force Academy. It's because last year Sam Colsingham was the 18th round pick. He went to Air Force. Yeah. I knew there was a guy in the Royals organization that played third base that went to the Air Force Academy. I heard Military Academy, and I mixed the two up. So, sorry, Sam Ruda.
I mean, they're both.
I live near Navy, so it's go Navy, screw Army.
Yeah, I mean they're both named Sam, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, there you go. That's it. That's exactly it. That's the problem. It's their fault. Change your name. One of them is Samuel now. Sam 1 and Sam 2. Yeah. Hopefully we come back on a brighter mood next time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hope for better. I will say, I mean, after the conversation we just had, I'm not in any way saying that the Royals are going to be sellers, so nobody take that the wrong way. I'm not even in any way saying that I think the Royals season is over. I just think that it's probably more of a toss-up right now than it has been at any other point in the whole season. So
yeah, they're in trouble, but there are people that get paid a lot more than us to figure this stuff out. So
yeah, it's just the deadline is just really curious to me because it's tough to see what they can deal from the farm to actually impact the big league roster.
Yeah,
I just don't know. You're not going to be able to get a Bo Bichette, and I'm not saying they would even have a chance. Who knows what that market will look like? But like, how are you going to get an impact bat when you can't trade Blake Mitchell because he's not going to have a ton of value off an injury? Like, how are you going to get an impact bat? Like, it's just hard to see.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for sure.
Yeah. Well, with that, I mean, we'll close it out. Thanks if you did hop on. Thanks for hopping on the first live stream. If you didn't, maybe we'll do more and we can get some, interaction in the comments. That'd be cool. Kind of talk to you guys as we're going through it. But thanks for hopping on. Maybe turn on those alerts on YouTube. You can get an alert when we go live next time. drop us a follow or drop us a comment on Spotify, Apple Podcast. And we'll hope for next time we'll be back with some better news. That'll be the hope.
Yeah. Happier mood.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm Preston Farr. That's Matt Chabot. Thanks for hopping on the Foundcast.